Let's eat.
Okay.
Stanza. Okay, ini satu tuan. Cara tutupan nasi nak Huntan di alas kopi, kemudian Shakti. After this, he was not asking for even after the music from si Subwizo, di Mangge'hilo. Hulio di Mangge'hilo, Maga'låhen Hurao. Pinangin in Kulesi na Huntan di Mangge'hilo, Maga'låhen Hurao di alas kopi में Kochu, kemudian Shakti, Mangge'hilo. Indonesia nasi na Huntan Mangge'hilo, Maga'låhen Hurao ada Hulio 2025 di Betnis, Diha di Hulio 2025 di Public Notices Portal dan di Maga'låhen Hurao na Facebook page. Pinatuhan di Indonesia.
Oh, di Indonesia. Okay,
Pinatuhan na in records and live streams. He is in Mommy YouTube channel at Maga'låhen Hurao. Eventually, consiguen so we can ask this.
Okay. Sige, pagtutuloy member ng gagawin sa Huntan, member di Chitro natin si Sabio, si Naka, si Rencha, si Tawtawi Isabela, si San Unifi, Nagoda, si Pierre at si Lamo, si Ricardo siya, member di board di Maga'låhen Hurao, si Winaiza, si Amin Fasi, si
Jesus Marcy, Maga'låhen Hurao, Takon Sinimota, Iberbotin Secretaria, Inapuzum, Iminutas, in Matos, na Huntan, Diha Unu, Imato, residential, different for 2 season, Mommy. What question he na Sinutus?
Well, now let's see it.
Kuwaha motion para sa aprueba. Can I get a motion to accept? Ati single man Lundi. Kuwaha para diskuti. Anyone need to discuss? Anything to discuss? And then the questa volta. Quando viene tanto ma preve essere motion. Wow. Kuwaha kumontra. Any objections? Date tu huli kumontra pues este ma pasa este na motion. Si duas mãos. Tá conseguindo mona para ir reportar de funcionário. Mr. Treasurer,
as the statement of activities, the third quarter, April through June 2025, total revenue for the 2 allotments for February, March, April, and May. Total revenue is $284,704.60. Total expenses for that quarter, $210,149.19. Change in net assets, $74,555.41. Net at the end of the period, $172,507.91. On the next page, the statement of activity for the fourth quarter as of July 15th. No revenue. Total expenses at $68,846.96. Change in net assets is a negative $68,846.96. Net assets at the end of the period are $103,660.85.
Sir, kuwaha question para sa that's all we reported in the principal. Then the Roman status in the supplement as well. Any questions and everything. That's all.
Para sa ating eskwela, Benjamin, 2025, November na estudyante dito. Mga November sa Malingo. Pues, de lunes, así martes a julio, de sí, para ir para 2025 de 26, ma-accepta, sa timan manatan to enrollment, Shentu 76.
So singing that when to see must put it to be or to something like that. So it's not asking. Was as 90 students as last school year, 24-25. Tari webinar singing that so the organizational restructure. The organizational restructure para mamailan na nasa eskwela 25 26.
Volver a tomar esta in February 2011, lo tagli si attaccano con inglese tagli si esce martes, lo originale is not to do.
So para 25, 26 na sa ating eskwela, tatulaga. That Gayulo, Tanagayulo, si San Ignacio, y CEO principal, ki Mangge'hilo, pues, esta acepta y nuevo na posisyon. I'm going to memorize that word, position. International Chief Operations Officer, so Operations Director, para Pago, pues tatulaga angin matu in nuevo na sa ating eskwela. Okay. Then we have the Chief Academic Officer, which is Chief Operations Officer is Sana Anamu. Then the Chief Academic Officer is Mangge'hilo. Then we also, with the Chief Operations Officer, she's going to be basically handling the operations, finance, compliance, and marketing within the school. Then the Chief Academic Officer will be handling the curriculum, faculty, students, and the programs. Then we have our new position, which is the Executive Ops Manager, the Executive Assistant as of right now, the Diha. Esta accepta y dos y lunes, and we've been putting them to work. They even have lunch break.
Working lunch.
Okay. Look, if I have a question, put it. Any questions? Oh,
Tomorrow, medium educators. Tomorrow, medium education trainees. And tomorrow, medium education aides. Assistants.
that's a new acronym for me.
So tomorrow medium is the word is the emerging educator or tomorrow teacher. That's the title we want to use for our teachers, because when we apply for grants at awareness, when we like to and working with all the senators from the Youngs in Washington, that this is the title that they use when they want to get federal monies. And that's the written title for all the emerging schools and the Native American schools. This is the title that they use. So for them, it will be the Hawaiian medium educators instead of just saying emerging educator or so.
It's related to their.
Yeah, and then in the education side, second language medium educator, like a native language medium educator, that's what it is. What you just put in tomorrow is allotted, and this is what, so this is what we started using since I came over last.
Any other concerns, questions? Okay. Next topic is the appointment of a certifying officer.
So we need to look, we have all of the things having to do with certifying, our budget, anything on the operations side. We're setting up a meeting before, we assign, a certifying officer. So we need a certifying officer for our audit, right? But is that gonna be Arno or is that gonna be me? Who's the preferred person? I know the last time when we talked to the auditor, see, he could sign as the chair, you could sign as the treasurer, there's so many options. But we want to meet with Kevin Nishikura, who is the CEO of either, who's been the most successful, we understand, charter school in operations and having code audits. So we have a meeting with her to ask, who's the best person to, is it gonna be Arnold? Me as the principal, or is it somebody as the chair, or, right, to certify? To.
Okay, so before we make that decision, we'll get insights from.
Yeah, and I asked that we hold off on that and we'll let you know, or we'll cover it another time, because we really want to, get to see what items doing at that one.
I think for this, you need the certifying officer for the last school year should be whoever's been signing your contracts. A new school year, you can create a new certifying officer. But if you're going to go to the audit and you, as a board, and we say, was approved as a certifying officer, but all the contracts signed last school year was you and sublet, it's going to make a conflict. Like, these are not certifying officers. So for today, we need to decide who was the one signing the contracts last school year. And whoever that was is a certifying officer for school year 24-25. Or we make it new.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that the certifying officer not be a board member directly, because then it's the management. The board should be oversight on the certifying officer, not us coming in and saying, okay, we're gonna sign it. Here, we're gonna influence the management team because I won't sign it. So it should create the wall, especially in nepotism. But even the meeting of Angie, right, she was mentioning that the auditor said whoever signed it in the beginning, the contract should be the certifying officer, and it needs to be dictated on the minutes. So we have to show today whoever that person was, that's who we're going to vote as last school year certifying officer. And then our next board meeting, we can always change it and say the new certifying officer. But at least it matches the minutes, so when the auditor does, okay, somebody or signing it, the woman that's certified. Because that's what stood out the most what Banji was talking about, is making the auditor, BJ Cruz wanted to make sure all of the charter school understood that whoever signs it, let it be the certifying officer. So we just need to see who are signing contracts, whatever agreement you have in place, payroll, whoever. If it's you and sign it, then we should put that in the minutes today. That's who we are voting for. And then the next school year, we can vote for whoever the new certifying officer.
So to that note, we've been meeting with the auditor for the RFP on the RFP, right? And one of the things that Fred Jones told us, and we say we want to see, because we're thinking, me and Xavier are working, so we're gonna come and look at the files, how the sales files, how we're organizing things. And so we've been going, and they said it's going to be between me and the sales. At times I'm gonna have to sign it, and at times it's gonna have to be the sales. So that's where, in my mind, right, like the bench told us, I'm not clear now.
It's starting to be like your contracts. Who's approving to sign contracts? I see Diha as a certifying officer approving the invoice. So I certify that the invoice is true and correct, and that you have those stamps, right, and you stamp it and then you sign them and give invoices. But the certifying officer who says we're going to take this contract. We're gonna hire,
Well, for last school year, right, so
for last school year, they're gonna say who signed this. And so if we select somebody different from those that signed here, does it make those contracts basically void?
so I'm just gonna have to ask the auditor then, because they're kind of like the same thing between me and Zaya, right? So we just let them know that the board approved him.
Who's been signing contracts though for last school year? Have you signed them?
No.
So we should vote now that for the last school year, somebody has been authorized by the board to be the certifying officer. So that we have this in the minutes, because she wanted it in the minutes. That way, last school year is done, whatever you sign, there's no question. And then the auditor said, okay, he's authorized to sign on. The next school year, we can change it. That way it can match the school year as we go along.
Pues, puede to, is there a motion to approve myself as last year's, as last year's certifying officer?
I would put a motion forward to approve somebody as a certifying officer for last year in connection with all the contracts that you've already signed. So that we are compliant to the audit.
Kung para sa hati senior manager si Dinusia, si Jose Mangasi, any discussion? From my recollection, I believe I signed all the that I forwarded that shared to. Pues, entonces, pues, the board, ¿cuánto tienen hands para prueba estimación? Any objection?
Ms. Gonzalo, one question on that.
Okay.
Is that a certifying officer, is that inclusive of MOU? Or is that, or just the operational contracts?
I would imagine if you didn't pay anything out of the contract.
Oh, okay. Okay, it's one line.
So I also should clarify that when you look at that, original financial.
Yeah, I like that.
Because auditors are not gonna look at a non-financial.
Yeah, we all might have this.
But then also, we could set a motion now that in the new school year, the following people will be certified. So that as the new school year comes, nothing's stopping the 9-15 from moving forward. Right, like, oh, we have to get somebody to come in, or we have to wait for somebody. So we're basically making a motion that your last school year is certified officer. So this coming school year, we're the new certified officer, so that the operations just keeps moving. This is what we should probably look at now.
Let's close out this one. And the concept, Akomotra, pues estima pasa estimation. Si tú asking, put Edu on that point,
This is the one.
okay, so Senator Leafy wants to be first with the Helen later to kind of understand,
From a charter point.
yeah.
Is there anything that you need to sign in the agreement that starts before the school year? So is there anything that needs to sign now?
What do you mean before that's board meeting?
Yeah, because my, my, signature is only valid last school year.
I mean, technically, if we kept going, because it's still the year 2025, even if he needed to sign something right now for next school year, we could still as a board vote, change even halfway through the school year, who the certifying officer is, right? It would just be as of this date. So if you're worried about him signing something for next year, I think it's still okay for now. You're still the certifying officer. And once you have your meeting and we come back together, it would be from that date forward. The new certifying officer is such and such. So it wouldn't really matter if you signed anything next school year. It would just be like from this date forward. Does that make sense?
So one concern I heard is if our financial fighting period should coincide or correspond with your authority assignment. Because I think you may get into an audit over when you've designated them for a period of the fiscal year, and then you've overlapped, and then you designate a new person who probably should.
When is the fiscal
But then that becomes another issue because the fiscal year and the school year.
is not the same, it's October or something.
These are things,
Yeah.
these are things we wanted to clarify with each other.
Yeah.
Because they're already chartered, right? And
Yeah.
this is our first end of the year,
Yeah.
our first year. And there are a lot of things that I'm understanding that we need to charter on those things, especially in that the fiscal year does not match the school year. And all of operations that are handled around that is complicated right now, because we're wondering, when do we do the increments?
Yeah.
Yes, teachers start in August, but the fiscal year doesn't start until October.
Yeah.
So how do we apply to increments if we cannot, when we don't have the funding embedded in our money? At least for now, getting through our first year, because we're already done, and we didn't schedule those things out, right? But for next school year, we understand how it works. Maybe we need to have a reserve of funds to stretch through August, September, until October, right? Which is not this year, we're not there. Yeah, not knowing, not foreseeing that, right? We're just going in and first year.
Yeah.
So
It behooves us to have that meeting first before making changes. It's beneficial.
so I know there's general things that apply as certifying officer, right? In operations or whether it's private or government. But simply because I know that the charter schools have been on the news on, about a lot of things, and a lot of things is I think they don't know either, and that's what we're falling into right now is we just want to try to understand first, right? Understand how do charter schools function in the government law. Because they're very particular with certain things, right? And as opposed to versus getting audited in that fiscal year. How do we be accountable in the school year for a fiscal year that can be audited? So, we're meeting Helen next Wednesday, I'm confirming the meeting next Wednesday. So this fiscal year, you're still gonna be the certifying officer until September 30th, right? Not school year,
So change the wording instead of school year, fiscal year.
fiscal year, yeah. And then for the next fiscal year, after September 30, we will have that information already from Helen, so we know who's gonna sit as, or who possibly can sit as certified officer. Right?
Please revise it.
So just to clarify, is there any objection to change the appointment of me being certified officer from school year to fiscal year? Right. Response to that?
Are we stuck at 2 fiscal officers?
That's what she wants to find out. Can we have multiple?
For the audit, I know the auditor said we only need one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the audit officer.
But internally, I'm sure we can have more.
So that way we can just keep these permanent.
I want to share the wealth. Here. Okay, Cesar Responsibility request, Mano Papa para the fiscal 24-25 audit readiness.
We need, tomorrow at 2:00, we go into we're at the step of negotiation, and the only ones that answered our RFP was Ernst & Young. And they, I will let you know that, the amount that they are, or that they give us is at it's at 19, to almost 20K every year for 3 years, because they have to audit us for 3 years. the possible fourth year upon approval of the OPA again. But for 3 years, if they get the bid, we have to pay them 20K every year. So that's another money that we have to set aside. So tomorrow is the open negotiations. And my thing is, there's a breakdown of what all those charges are. I just might need some of your help because I have no idea what is the average charge of an audit for me to be able to go and negotiate, you know? So,
Yeah, so just so I understand, the OPA sends out an RFP for all the charter schools, and they decide who is selected, and then the charter school pays based on that.
no, they answer. So the only one that answers, it's like, it's government law procurement, right? So anything that's above, the threshold needs to be put out as an RFP. And then in that RFP, whoever responds to it, so there may be 2 bidders or 3 bidders. The lowest bidder will get it, right? But in this case, only one. We did.
No, we did.
They put it out on behalf of, or we did, but they guided us. OPA guided us about how to put it out, because we haven't gone through the procurement, training, I just see, you know, which we're just waiting for.
Just because, like when audits, it depends also the size of your revenue. And so if you project, you got 1.5 million of allocation for Hurao,
Yeah.
right? And if Ernst and Young is looking at it as a government entity where there's $20 million, are they charging you based on your income revenue to audit, or is it just, are they thinking we're charging like a DOE, right, where it's, you have to audit $20 million, so that's why they're gonna charge you 10%?
So that's what I mean, I'm not, experienced with these audits. I know other areas of, what might cost, I have an idea to buy, but as far as audit, I don't have any experience, so if I go in there, I need to do some homework. Again, I'm wanting to talk to Helen to ask them, how much do they pay me the audit, right? Just to get a gauge. What charge goes to.
They person, because I've been looking up everybody's audit to get information, and most of it is UI.
UI took over from, Deloitte.
Yeah.
And Deloitte was the biggest contract.
Yeah, they're the most,
But there's
It's
other
19,500.
I just wonder where they get it.
even small wiggle room with how, because it would add up to the 3 years. They find small areas that they can take.
Yeah,
So
this
they-
is, just so you see, you can pass it around, that's the breakdown of the audit. So that's where we're at, as far as audit, readiness.
Is there anybody to roll in that office?
Jonathan is there.
The main guy? You can talk to him face to face.
I mean, look at all guys are good and they're straight. So, look how you guys help us
put everything
put
in line.
everything in place. Like, you can't, there's certain things they won't allow you to keep doing, so. But, you pay premium for a premium company.
And that's for 1 year. 19.5 is 1 year. If they get the contract, they do it for, they get it for 3 years. And they pay 19.5 for every year.
Those hours are probably on the higher end, and even if they don't need it, they just.
Just to bill it.
Yeah.
So I go in tomorrow for that, it's just on Zoom, to negotiate, so, if I will be on tomorrow. And then, I mean, we just expect to pay, 19, I don't know.
But you have to take
3
3 years.
Yeah. It has to be 3 years for the same company for the same, because that's how they're gonna compare it, that progress and the audit, and how well we do.
Does it have to be locally on island?
Yeah, because our, it's an RFP for the
You never know, there might be an off island.
Oh, well, to answer, I don't know if it has to be local, but I know that the RFP is done locally from the government. Like, we do it, we send it out, opening like this, but they're the ones to respond. And this is just to respond to, it's printed in paper. We had to pay, $300 to get it.
If there is a loophole where the company could be off island, that just has to be accredited by XYZ, maybe a company in Asia would be a better price, and we just have to fly them and house them. And
But
it may
for
not
now,
be, yeah,
because the RFP has already been answered,
yeah,
based on that, it's gonna close it right now.
it's already done.
Yeah, that's why, so we have to wait for another second.
Another
In
cycle.
order for us to send out.
We just research.
Yeah.
For next year. Yeah.
With a possible 4th year, and we have approval.
Yeah, it's a job for future.
Tomorrow.
This is where this is.
It's so hard.
So we have to pay the public auditor this, or do we bill MH direct?
No, they bill MH direct.
Lump sum.
Public auditor doesn't get paid, they're just
The oversight.
they're the auditor that oversees, because all of their auditing has to go, copy goes to us and goes to OPA.
Yeah, but it's made up to M, not MA. So who controls the contract, MA to the public auditor? Who do these guys work for, the auditor or MA?
But all the funding comes then from us, just like the others, when they get off, the agencies. The agencies.
Is it also ownership oversight of the area? Financial.
As the auditor, because you see the conflict of interest.
So that's the status on our audit, and that's gonna begin, sometime in September.
Is this in our budget or do we have to make up for that?
Now I'm going to put it in the budget, because it's there as a line item, but we were waiting for the quote.
But it's still like, it's not like we got any extra money from government for this, right?
No,
We
We have to fit it
Yeah,
into our,
yeah, it's set at 7,000, whatever.
So that is the thing about charter schools, right? They will give us 7,800 for people student costs, and we can do or manipulate the funds however we want, not.
But we just have to answer these for fun.
But
but we have to meet all
we
the
have to meet all the requirements of the government and all the requirements of that, adds up to, our meets DOE or global standards, right? So anything and everything has to fall within that budget. Mine, we're only getting 7, 8, and we get 12. There's nothing. It's a big difference. So that's why it's hard for us to meet, salaries.
Really different.
That's why we also have to explore looking for additional funding to certain programs, like a big, I know we have to talk about it later, but a big chunk of the budget is being taken now is for meals. So if you find a grant that covers meals, it's almost 200K. For meals, for the amount of people we have.
I haven't looked at our bylaws or anything, but are sponsorships allowed or? Donations, sponsorships.
So we can
We can still act as we're a nonprofit, so we can still act as a nonprofit.
So this is a nonprofit.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we're a nonprofit. But, so what we've done so far, is so everybody knows, is on our accounts, we have actually 2 accounts, but we haven't put anything into our fundraising account. Because we were thinking we want to separate the money that's just charter money, this is government, just this, little bit of that, and the books are clean on that. And then for our fundraising, there was a fundraising account that Maga'låhen assisted in helping us with also, where any kind of fundraising or extra things that we do will go into that, just so that we separate the monies, and that's been established, right?
That's great.
Checking our system. It's a great idea. Because trying to mix it in. Even now, just, having to alleviate is not just,
Everything is now that you know it's gonna cost you 19,000, 20,000. Spread that over the school year. And every month when you do your allocation to, DOA, you're allocating that so that you're not waiting until September to ask. And then you're getting your money in advance and expecting to put money in.
Yeah.
It should be based, if you're allocated every month a certain amount based on kids. So if you have 171 kids, it's times X amount of money. It doesn't say if the public lottery gave you that, you can have that, and your math is based on your kids. You can't ask for more, so if you can project all your costs through the year, and you take that, draw down every month on what you're gonna do, start putting it aside.
So this is what, we are going to take. Is that the amount that we make from the number of kids is projected for the whole year? It's not like, whatever that's already given, that's already projected, and it's already decided. And so, she says to make sure to use it, make sure to draw it down, make sure to use it.
So that's what I was trying to get with Donna about, is how are the drawdowns happening? Like how are you calculating how much is being drawn down? And I know initially you guys are drawing down based on invoices. I was telling Donna, we should draw down based on the budget. So if we have the budget spread out over the 12 months, doesn't matter if we spend the money or not, you draw the money down, so that's already in the account, and we have space to be fluid. Because if we're only drawing down what we're spending, we're always gonna be at zero. And we're not gonna be able to make purchases, on the fly if we need to.
So we started doing that already.
Yeah.
We started doing that already, based on not invoices, but based on what, what our bills are, we need to pay out, and that's what we're starting at in July.
Take the money. Spend it. Take it, don't give it back to the government. Oh, sorry.
Spend it according to budget.
Segue to 25-26 budget review and approval.
So that, I can show the budget that we have, but now that we've learned this new information, the budget that we put together was based on school year. So we gotta make adjustments to adjust it to fiscal year. Because we were budgeting based on August to July fiscal year, so that we can reallocate that money based on the new positions that we need to do, and then we gotta adjust the next, 25 years, FY 26's budget to remove what we're spending this year. So I can show it to you, but the numbers are not gonna be, I don't know if you guys wanna go over it now.
But it's gonna change though, right?
It's gonna change.
Yeah, so you should
Yeah.
probably make the changes.
Before we should, we just found out today that, that's how it's gonna be, so.
But we're still looking for opening or July, August to the end of the school, this is.
Yes, because we still have, now we know that we can draw down money even when there's no kids here. So that's why I'm trying to work with Sana Desea we get all the money and then reallocate, get a new budget for the rest of the fiscal year. And then you guys can approve that and approve the one for the following fiscal year.
I think for me that's fair, because you get two different numbers, I'm gonna get confused.
Yeah, so that's why I was like, I don't know if we wanna, have to.
No, secret 1090.
Because now we're seeing that we're gonna have to break up, instead of, we were budgeting for employees for school year, but now it's gonna be where we have to budget salaries between two different fiscal years.
Plus,
Okay, so let's table 25-26 budget approval, for review and approval for next,
I think that's FY.
next board meeting, which will be, because that's FY, right? So
So we have to.
I don't have to rush in October or August.
Yeah.
We can do it on our next board meeting.
We'll okay for money,
I mean, we'll figure out the next resolution. Moving on to and registration update for this coming school year. Trevor, sign
Isn't that what I gave?
For this coming one.
I don't know, man.
Oh,
You
so,
might have to-
For the other,
so far, what you accepted is 176. Meaning we had an interest list, then we sent out, a link for everybody to fill out all of the information. And so those are the ones we accepted, fitting into our footprint of how many kids per class per grade, right? And so right now, we only have,
We have 21 slots left.
and that's all in fourth, fifth, and
21.
sixth grade.
So fourth grade has 5 slots, fifth grade has 11, and sixth grade has 5. All other slots have been filled. We might see some movement in the next week or two because we sent out acceptance emails. And there are a couple parents that have declined due to like they're not potty trained or whatever, but we have a wait list, so we're just pushing people into the slot. So I imagine it's not gonna change the number even with the movement, but it is fourth, fifth, and sixth grade, so, I'm gonna see what kind of marketing efforts we can push in the next week to fill those, get people in.
Just so you know,
Those pamphlets ready.
we're on, we
I
have a
don't think
whole
QR
class.
codes. Apply.
We have a whole class of community partners that
we also have a wait
that are
list for
ready.
every, we still have a wait list for every grade.
Oh, yeah.
So if
Except for
any
fourth
movement
and
happens, whoever's on the top of that wait list will be called or be informed.
How many people you have on wait list?
Kinder is a full.
Yeah,
class.
And there's a full class of
There's,
15, I think,
I
15 or 16.
think first grade has 8 on their waiting list, second grade has 8 on their waiting list, third grade, there's 3, about 3. K3, there's nobody on the waiting list officially right now, but the application window was closed and people are still sending in their applications, so
Most
we're
of them are
just
those pages.
auto,
We're
wait.
still running it, and there's, we using all of them.
But we'll know, we'll get a firmer number by next week, because their deadline to submit all the documents is next Friday. If they don't submit, they forfeit their slots, their next person on the wait list, so.
So turning on.
You said
Don't worry, if you're currently enrolled, you're good.
I was gonna say, because I didn't do anything. Please tell me I'm not. I'm like, okay, I'm not in this meeting, no, just joking. I agree.
Based on footprint. I mean, we're, whatever our classrooms and everything.
Yes.
But the allocation that we're given from the government is 200.
240.
So we can, so no, sorry, 176 is based on our footprint compared to who has applied. But if we're just looking at footprint alone, we can go up to 198. So we fill those last spots that are open, we'll be up at 198, and that's the max for the capacity that we have.
But our allocation is 240.
Yes.
So,
But also teachers. 198 is also considering how many staff we have.
Yeah,
How many
bodies and general.
Yeah.
tomorrow immersion educators?
CMEs and.
but just to look at it from
Yeah.
perspective, that 64 slots up to the max the government allowed us, times 7,800, that's almost 500,000 left on the table.
Yep.
That's a lot of money, just to put it in that mindset, right, where the government's saying, here's 500,000. We really want to look at what is it going to take to, how many teachers do we need, and to take that money. Because that's just going to go back to the general fund, teachers cannot use.
It's teachers and a couple classrooms.
So right now, so I'll just read to the next item too.
Well, that's the just the registration update. Moving on to campus facility reorganization. So I did a walkthrough with the maintenance, Tony, in regards to, actually, that's the next one. Sorry, you go first,
Okay,
because that's the next one. Okay, go.
para i-hafag ni Esther Pangul, necessary 20 sa akin natin, onsi na kwatu, no? Onsi na kwatu lo kwatu, mausan, class, unong oficina, to lounge, then we go to the second together. those and assess the tone, right? So we have an additional 53, an additional 54, and 6 grades. Minimally, we need 3 classes more, maximum 4 if we're gonna do at least 2 classes. If we want to try to get these classes. So right now, if we're just gonna stay within our footprint, we need to figure out how to make more classes. Now, we have it, we take up the 2 classes, make that a classroom, right? The second example, we can make another classroom that's PK3, PK4, right? Because they're right here, yes? So then now, we're using 6th graders. We're looking for the 6th graders. So I have our architect work come and we went in and we measured all the rooms. So there's different challenges for community plus. She measured wall to wall. And there's a requirement for public health for square foot. Okay? And so she's gonna do all the calculations. She's gonna report to us. I'm supposed to be
this week.
end of Friday, right? Because she can draw it to scale professionally, right? And with the square footage. However, what I understand from this data was when they did the walkthrough for public health, is that linked into that. When they measured her square footage, if like the shelf is coming out this way, they're not counting that.
They're not counting that.
It's minus that. It's minus the teacher's desk. They're gonna measure from the teacher's desk.
It's
Just to
open
that.
space.
Yeah, it's the open space. So now I gotta go back to Barb and tell her that what we measured, we can't even really use because.
Wait, can we get the inspection prior to moving any furniture? And when that count?
For building,
Yeah, and we get public health to inspect prior to moving the furniture, I mean, because it's just moving furniture, right? But if they're gonna be like that, then
I thought that was a brilliant idea. We could,
We only need one.
okay, it's about space and time here, and you guys are gonna inspect prior to us moving the furniture, see if we qualify and then just move.
this is our intention.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that actually makes a lot of sense, especially if you're going to 6th graders. 6th graders need all these shelves.
It's really the name, it's really for,
Yeah.
because they have a lot of stuff, blankets, and all that, right? But, anyways, Barbara's working on that, I'm working on that, we're going to figure out, like, what are some ideas, her as an architect, like, working, how can we went to K-6, the K-5 wing, to see if we cut the space in half, how many kids can we fit, and then is there going to be a whole way for access, because when we cut it in half, instead of cutting it longer, we're living like a Diha. So we gotta cut it half, right? But then the inside classroom, because there's only one access door over there, right? There's one access door. They're gonna have to cut across the hallway, like they're gonna have to build a wall, leave a hallway here with a door, where these kids on the inside need to go out, right? And that can house our smaller classes, right? Our 4th, 5th, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade are smaller classes.
And I think too, the public health regulations around the older classes are not as strict as the younger ones. Because actually, I think is it, based on the space that those classes are now, I think we're approved for up to 30 kids, but we don't wanna have 30 kids in one class with one teacher, which is why we keep it down to 20. So I think even if you cut it, you still get approved for that.
So that's another option. right?
sounds expensive.
Yes, yeah.
That sounds expensive.
We don't, unless we, so if we move out of these offices, we can vacate all the admin, right? The teacher's lounge, the main office, so my office, where you see my office, right, is one, we can make that the teacher's lounge. And then use that office space as a classroom space, right? So now we have 3, because we have the teacher's lounge, the other side of the office where it's at right now, and then the side of Pinello. But the side of Pinello is a resource room that saves us so much money. So where are we gonna do that? You know, we're
Is
gonna
there
have to
space in
get
the auditorium upstairs for storage?
a,
Move storage up?
we'll have to rent it because it's not part of our using as storage.
Right now it's all storage, it's one big open
But-
room. It is, just
They-
for the high school.
Is there room for classrooms on YouTube?
Do they have empty rooms?
They have a wing of empty rooms on there, however, we haven't, spoken to them regarding what, we're supposed to meet, we haven't, so that's still on my table.
That would be a great option for sixth grade and office. Keep the nannies, like you said, and then the oldest, the sixth graders maybe, and the oldest senior, you know, or maybe containers for those two, because you can always move it. And it's an investment that stays with MH, you know, so.
Do it just whatever option we go to, have to consider that the school year is supposed to start on August 18th.
Yeah.
Whatever needs to be done needs to be approved by that date.
Yeah, classrooms here would possibly be the easiest for
So they
this
just get
immediate
the
school year.
container and put the office, your
Storage.
storage, that in there, because these are classrooms, right? I'm just thinking, how much is the storage making, this stuff in the storage that's making money? Is it gonna bring in you money, bring money in, right? Is it just used every day? Can we put it in a small container? And then people can go and get that,
Yeah.
right? If we move over here, is the kids a mix of the BT students? How do you control, is there a control issue? Right, like you're mixing two
Not
completely different schools.
So now it's really, just because we're all here that some kids come this way, but it's pretty, I think we've learned to live with each other and they don't really go with the kids or, I mean, there's, almost like, I don't know,
They learn the respect to,
yeah, it's really nice that they, you know, we thought that might be an issue, but it's been really nice, there's been, you know, and mom, they keep it on, you know, really, this way, we come here, but they go to the office.
Okay.
So,
But if you move classrooms over there, would that be an issue?
uh,
So I'm just thinking of like visually, right, what if,
we move it there,
a student fight,
if,
or something happened?
because there's only two classrooms there, if we move it there, I would recommend requesting for the entire thing, not just one classroom.
Yeah.
because
We
if
can
you
agree, because we could control.
two, then, yeah. But here's the thing, so I just, I talked to, Dylan, and he's saying that already on the roster, that, we have a little bit more than them as far as new enrolled students, but he's saying that they've reached their numbers. So they're gonna be next year's. So depending on them, the acceptance, so.
I think the fastest is to put a container in office, put that, and then at least we know we can put the kids in classrooms and start collecting, right? Because then if we don't have that, that's gonna be the worst thing.
Yeah, and building architecture, it sounds nice, but this isn't, may or may not be the long-term home. So putting that kind of work in could be, you know, it's not an investment you can move.
I think that's where Barb started doing,
Yeah.
you know, like, because she came to just do the assessment, right, that what's possible from a professional's point of view. And so she was more, you know, and we're not problem, you know. Because even the walls, we're like thinking, the walls go all the way up, it's still gonna be soundproof, and I hate, you know, in that small over there, you can, even now, just the noise between the two classrooms is very audible. Right? Imagine if they're just like in the same classroom, the quality is not going to be.
And then I think the container for the office would be, because we could put it right in front of the office. Because there's
Yeah.
doors there. You can send it up.
Yeah, right now this is.
And it could be just the admin, you know.
Have you ever seen a bunch
Yeah,
of fold up?
I think we were talking about that.
Transformer.
And it's just, you just hook up to the power here. And we don't need to do the bathroom things.
So I'm gonna do research with those, we have engineers, and it's ready to go, like, we can.
It has an aircon, it has a window,
It
it
has
has work.
electrical that can be connected connected to electric, you know.
I think that'd be the best option because if you look at that for kids, you have to go to public health to see if that's acceptable, all of that different things. If it's an office, it's not as,
Yeah.
limited,
Required,
restricted as
yeah.
when you have to.
And just, so you know, our quote was at 20. I'm sorry,
So it's 5 for the 10 by, no, 10, oh yeah, 10 by 10.
5K. 5K?
Or you get like
20?
2 of those, is it 10 by 20?
Sounds big.
I know, wait.
It sounds like.
I see the other
What's
one,
it, 10 by 10 maybe?
and by,
One moment.
I don't remember.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys do need a lounge.
It's an 8 by 20.
I don't want to believe that.
8 by 20.
8 by,
That was one.
that's a good size.
It's just,
For
It's
five
just small.
K.
it's about, maybe
that
this
5%
small,
of this.
like this.
It's those small little foldable ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they have windows and doors already,
And your counts,
but you're not gonna fit everybody in one.
yeah, you're gonna need more.
Yeah, but still,
What size is it on it?
I think the next one up is 10.
10 by 20. That's the trend.
What's his name was saying, it's his classmate that sells it. But I do know that the process would be, they have to come and inspect to make sure that they can, their truck can drop it off. And then I believe it's 4 weeks, because they order it, basically.
But if you check now, they might have a little to like.
Yeah.
Okay, you know the best part? There's a management team, you guys figure it out. Right?
Don't be
You
mad.
guys is okay with us putting?
No, that's something we still need to
Yeah.
decide.
Yeah, so then we'll have to add,
Once we decide that that's where we're gonna go, or that's part of figuring out that that's where we're
But it'll be on that side where you guys are always at.
Yes, correct. We'll just be in our space.
they have 2-story ones.
wow.
Storage.
Storage and Christina.
So it's 8 by 20, and then the next size up, the one that's like an actual like house.
So
is
8 by 20
by
by
20.
The 8 by 20 is 5.
5.
40 by 20? How much is that?
8 by 20.
I think that was 20K.
40 by 20.
That's true.
But that's the one that has like a kitchen and a bathroom and a. But I think it's according to the lady, it's customizable, so if we wanted just a shell without all that fixtures inside.
We just need that close flooring, right?
The floor's already there. Like there. It is, you just need to plug into.
Yeah, only electric.
Well, we're gonna plug it
If you know numbers, I can order it direct, I got the supplier, but I don't know how to get it here.
Yeah, we can.
I'll see how.
Yeah, so these are options that are.
Yeah, we just gotta go explore all the options.
in. Well, go ahead.
We can put it,
Is that new for somebody?
No, that's container. So you can bring stuff in, you don't have to fill up a container, but it's a little bit more, which you can solid. So you're gonna bring in, because it's foldable, so you're not taking, you just actually shipper, slide it in there, consolidation.
Yeah, but keep that in the council to the other guys, but
Correct.
yeah. we'll bring it.
Okay. Okay. So that's where we're at.
In regards to public health, where our permit is still good in October. I did a walkthrough with the maintenance guy, and there's quite a few areas that need to have some work. They'll be the ones to do the work.
Right.
Most likely, depending on the cost of how much it's gonna cost us. Room 6, room 4, 5, and 6 need to have the floors resurfaced because a lot of the thin layer of it is popping up. Room 6 is the worst. There's like so much pop up there. For the paint part, it's just like it just looks like this.
You have to just bring concrete that's popular?
Yeah. So I think when they pulled out all the tiles previous, they pulled up some of it, so they tried to, fix it, but they didn't. They didn't use the correct, action equipment or action whatever, and all of that kind of came up. So for the most part, most of the classrooms will pass with the exception of the flooring and the doors. So all the doors need to be flipped around. It needs to all,
Isn't that one on our landlord?
correct. But then at the same time, we also, decided to take the place as is. So because the permit is under school or the endowment foundation, they are also liable for a lot of stuff that we do. So that's what I've been trying to work with Joe on it, Joe and Lisa. Been trying to meet with him, but that hasn't happened yet. So I'm gonna be sending them an email to kind of see where we can speed up things and get things going, or we just.
Public health, and we say, can we duplicate that conditional use and make one just for NH so that BT doesn't control? It's almost like,
Yeah.
they can take their time, and make you guys suffer, make us suffer, and at the end of the day, it's like, okay, you have to pay 1,000, you want to want this stuff. So,
Because it's tied in at both, so if we don't open, they also don't open.
And is that something we would learn?
That's something that we would have to. It could be, I mean, we did last time, right? But we did. And so try not to do that again, and trying to let them,
Yeah,
fix what needs to be fixed at the building.
that was a lot of backbone last year, so this year, these are things that should have been right all along. The door.
I know that was gonna be a big ticket.
I mean, don't they have the same,
Why?
but they have the same requirement on this side for their doors, they're just not gonna be the right way. Or they have to change them.
There's a whole wing that's not even.
So I mean, the best scenario would be to come up with a remedy school-wide, all the way,
That's what we're trying to,
talk to them.
we're trying to see what their plan is to get the entire school. Because we're pretty much, they're gonna be opening in September, I think their school year starts in September. They're just ending school year this month. Take break.
Fridays are last day.
Fridays are last day for.
They told me the middle of August, but maybe they changed it. They said they won't be closing for a month.
Do you know when they start the next week?
I'm not too sure, but I know they're trying to move from, last I heard, they're trying to move from a year round to a regular school year, so they might.
So
That's
so they might start
That
now.
makes sense. Because I was kind of wondering, gosh, only a month for year round, so that makes sense.
Yeah, they like the year-round idea, but, because our road users would be, they messaged all the parents and asked, like, they took a survey, because it's, the schedule's all conflict, and the kids are out, but other kids are in school, so.
Only the Japanese school, I think, on Guam is the only place that does that.
The year-round.
Because they pretty much follow what they do.
In Japan, but everything, I don't think there's any other schools.
So, I mean, just to sleep a little bit at night, you still have to October.
Yeah.
You can still open in August.
August 11.
Not
August
for
18th.
the offices and the classrooms, which is still in public health. So the storage and the offices that become classrooms, you will still be public health inspected.
Actually, no, because they've already inspected it. When first,
Before we turned it into offices and before we turned it into storage.
they didn't necessarily look at it as classroom, office.
They put it as school,
It has a school.
Okay, so they don't know it's a storage or it's an office.
not as of yet.
So let's move stuff.
But you know what I am keeping in mind is, making sure when they did the variances were based on a classroom variance, not an office variance. Like the popcorn seating was a variance across the board for everyone. So it didn't matter if it was a storage room or office, they said it's gotta be like that. This used to come up over
I have one concern, so if we reconfigure a space to add an additional partition or wall, right? And then it impacts the original egress for fire, which is that might be a GMP issue.
Yeah.
So that's, it's more, the
That's one thing that kept going back and forth to is public health or fire. Public health says one thing, fire says another.
Even like, the doors, the house said, it's fine, the way it is opening in, depending on the numbers.
Fire said it was fine.
Fire sales, right, depending on the number you have more, so many bodies, or the number of bodies, but public health said, no, they.
Especially if it was an outside door. So this one here, because they put in the two doors on the hallway, the glass doors, the indoor doors that open inward are fine. Because it's not
An
outside.
external door.
Yeah, it's not an external.
Also, the door saying no at night, or open into it.
Just recently, or the past couple of years is when they changed it.
Not just that, but you just say, will it be the same inspector this time?
There's only two, right?
Because
For the entire.
still like, the other one could have a different opinion on different things. And could even think the doors are okay.
And the other thing we need to find, I need to also find out is, or we need to settle is, when are they gonna schedule, because we have to schedule them.
The sooner the better, I think, right? Get it.
But the thing is, you can't schedule it
Until we get
until you fix,
everything fixed.
Yeah.
for them.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because what if we're not now fixing it, and they give us a date,
And they're not
and we're not there?
Used to be,
So,
we
I
had
have
to
to-
so it was either we wait till October, that's what
Choose your-
Yeah.
Yeah.
you're not gonna be able to do it. It's either from now till when we open.
We're also competing
Another one.
with the public schools, because there are schools that are on Jarrett's is also that they have to go and inspect.
We have a list of everything that needs to be.
Can we open without inspection?
We could,
based on
we
the
could
last
only
year?
hear until open, but to get the work done.
We don't.
We wanna get it done before school starts.
Is there anything that they would like close us for?
Doors are
That's the
closed.
biggest.
Okay.
We have to October, because the conditional approval is October.
Yeah.
But like the doors for me to be, even if you start school, the doors can be done. Especially if they're just, because the door, they keep saying it's so hard, but I'm like, so hard about
Yeah, we'll change the jam.
screw the jam. Doors are, you just,
Yeah, but we have outer door cannot.
but the jam can come off.
Yeah, you're gonna have to change the jam cover.
Yeah.
And just take it out and put a wood door.
Oh, you can take the doors off.
So only doors school right now.
I guess not out there. Yeah.
Then you don't pass the air con.
Okay, let's move on to 555. Moving on to the orders for the calendar audio.
Okay. So right now, we're looking at the meeting on August 18th. Originally, I wanted to open on the 11th, but seeing how much work and how much all of this we need to figure out where to, so after judges on that, is I said, at least we should just go. So what's gonna happen now is, we start on August 18th and end on, May 29th.
This is very tentative, we're still adjusting some things, but yeah, that's what it's looking like.
So our calendar year is gonna be a little bit smoother this year because now we're not just gonna wait till the last minute, right, for the event or whatever. We already know we're gonna join the young authors, we already know what we're gonna do. And that's the evening work, we can do ahead of time, so it's not gonna be this hectic work. We started it and all of a sudden they invited us 2 weeks before and now we're gonna join them. Now we know already we could choose which you guys want to do, right, or celebrate.
Todas las escuelas, ¿eh? Saben, ¿no? Todas las escuelas.
Oh my goodness, what is that? Oh,
And
see,
then
November,
also-
November, we're all silent the whole
Also, we
month.
have to
For
remember
bread
that-
silent, o todas escuelas.
There's one right there,
Also-
27.
keeping in mind that our teachers, a lot of our teachers are immersion certified, but a lot of them are not also. And so I need to keep up with professional development. I need to keep up, especially because our curriculum is just new, building the curriculum, rewriting, one training. I just need to keep doing that. And so, we're trying to schedule, that for 2007, at least once a month. We're missing someone's, we got
Because we have to
at least once a
meet,
month.
we have to meet the 180 days, so we had to give up some of them.
So I might need to ask them to come in and do some Saturdays, but, they're all on salary and we really need to do the professional development.
Yeah.
That's important. And also for them, just burnout also, right? They really need to. And that is kind of like, not that it's a but at least to just rest from the kids and, so they're not burnt out.
How about us? I know we keep the rest from the kids.
Fundraiser, babysitting nights.
Oh, mark the calendar, okay, Nanya Managro.
Oh,
It
that,
falls on a Sunday, Saigna. So,
that's something that I was already busy.
also we're trying to make it so that the Ha'anin familias and the Ha'anin submissions count as school days. So, you will be marked absent if you do not show up. Just come and sign it. But again, we just need to make a few more adjustments to meet the 180. I think right now we're at 175. So just still working the last month of school, but we're looking to end on the 29th because that's also in consideration of Temple Sopnak starting on time and ending on time. So there's enough time for the next one.
But for the most part, we've got the system down.
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
And we'll go back to monthly newsletters so that you have at least 4 weeks notice.
What are the family days in there?
These blue ones. These. So we try to
Okay,
yeah, they're not every month.
those are core memories right there.
Yeah, so
The
we have
kids
them
talk
set up.
about them like nonstop. They just love that, especially the end of the year day that you guys do this year. The release at EPAL, or no, not EPAL, the talking.
Oh,
Yeah. But those like family days, the kids don't stop talking about that. So they're, in other words, I'm trying to say they're very important. So make sure they're on the calendar.
yeah, they're
Those are, even our staff, we need to, in part of the policy, to make sure that we can everything with them, that they know that those are mandatory days. We haven't had any pushback yet, so there's no Saturday usually. It's been okay. We try to remind them that they're in it. Is identify our just trying to keep it them for work. Okay.
Moving on to student travel. Okay, we already spoke about the middle school. We got
Oh, but I need to.
5 more
just
slots
do a bit
left.
of the curriculum. So
Yeah.
our curriculum writer team is, I'm meeting with Keisha. So we're using her framework that she did on her dissertation. And then Ken, she's doing, what is she doing, science? And Ken is doing social studies. Fran, and this is all their specialty, right? Fran is doing health. And then I'm doing, so we're gonna have a spiritual class, spiritual, like, not, you know, not religion class, but spiritual class.
Topics
On the
that.
Menengi, covering the Menengi, we're gonna have that because I think our young kids going into middle school really, really need this. There's a question about whether we can have official PE because we don't have showers. So we might just make it dance or make it just so that they're moving.
Apparently host is unacceptable.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Host.
the whole, yeah, so we can't per se call it, because we can call it performing arts, you know, something that they're doing with the arts, right? And so that's where it goes.
Their cultural arts, I love that.
Yeah.
And you
Or
can change
make it
from go from danza to dancing
Yeah.
to,
This is how you walk the grass. This is how you come the hand.
as you come to all the exercise.
Mungkin mag-usay vacuum.
That's gonna be the spiritual class. We're gonna teach them that this part of being complete is knowing how to clean.
What about a
Yeah, music, so music is part of it. It's gonna be a function of it. You know how we do it, or I don't know, it just comes in and then does, and it does.
You know how like the schools, like public schools, they have that annoying recorder? That like at one age, they get all the kids. I wonder if maybe there's a possible grant or something for us with ukuleles. Like do something with the ladies, you know, and have Santa committee, like in the intro.
Yeah.
Like once the kids are in second grade or third grade, every kid at this grade is gonna sign out, you know. We're gonna have like 40 ukuleles.
That about that, you know, that's our ancient, you know, to learn to play that, right? Even.
Yeah, even
Just instrument.
something like that. It's a start.
We have payment teachers.
I'm still, guys, we're still on search, I'm gonna, talking about doing a job fair, because.
Wow.
And liberation day.
So I'll have 3 QR codes, apply to work, apply to register, and.
And our survey, and our survey, you know that also,
Oh, yeah.
all 4.
Yeah, so we're still,
I had a couple resumes come in.
yeah. We even had one from Simon.
That's actually really good though.
What do we do about background check, right? It's maybe in the news.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I know we is very.
Police, court,
This is the first time she has to raise it up.
Yeah, I have to
better not even sniff them like that. I tell you.
No,
go. Promise, the one that I heard it the last time still valid, I didn't know it
Strangle them, so.
That's serious business.
And then.
It breaks my heart in the news.
It really is.
Yeah, and then of course, we call it, sex offenders, you know, registry list, always when somebody comes in, we check on that, you know.
Yeah.
And we try not to ever have, especially if it's an outdated units, but, you know, males never take girls to the bathroom. We had this man in-house room, and we try not to ever leave, anybody in class alone. We always have another, next side or, you know, another, like, sending pieces in there.
Are these written
Nation.
policies or these are just understandings?
It's part of our employee, this, you know, when we do things with the employees, it's part of our bullet points.
What is that? You gotta create
Even
policies.
like the touch, you know, safe touch, like when kids run up to them, we have training to go to the side, like, we turn outside.
How to take touch.
I'm sorry.
Kasi that's what we have right now.
That exists here. Yes, tomorrow.
Like, the same thing, we write policies for our.
Take it out.
She's like, "She's on
Okay. But yes, no, double, triple.
That's
And you know, we really check, but what I've noted, that there's even one school that had no trace of this person. No trace, no record, right? And it was one of the charter schools, and then they found out later. Right. They found out later, and I just am trying to understand how did that happen? Right? Is it covered, is it, it's not listed, or what happened? You know, what I smell character, I smell it. I don't do this with me. I will get run over for the kids. And, I would die.
Moving on to the lunch
That's
program.
that's one school does have is highly involved staff and parents. Which hopefully, hate to say, has to even be, but detours those kind of, situations.
Yeah.
Is having very involved people, you know.
This is just one.
Right, the ones that especially when the parents start conversing with each other, when every weekend they're hanging out.
And that helps, right?
I know
To
we-
find out.
Yeah.
To
Because
learn
any
more.
of you
I see you all the time.
They do that, people do that in vulnerable, where they notice there's no one watching, you know.
All right, moving on to the lunch program update, like Ani said earlier, it's like $200 a year.
Yeah, because so last year, we did it through VTEP, and they charged us $475 a plate. And then you guys, in the middle of the year, we had to ask for help, right, because it was a lot. But also, kids weren't very happy with the food, so we're trying to find a balance. They really like the food that we have here for the summer, but it's pricey, it's $5. And in the budget, we budgeted $4 a plate as a balance to get the kids good food, but, you know, affordable. So we're still looking, I think we're trying to see if Capital Kitchen can come down on the price, just because it's gonna be the whole school year.
But
The volume is
this
higher.
one we might need to put out in our.
Because of the-
amount.
Yeah, so we have a few options, but we might, or get quotes. I don't know, do we have to get RFP or is it quotes? I think it's RFP.
Yeah, because
The
the
amount.
yearly amount
I think we should look at how we can use each.
we're okay with that, no?
Because it's used as an endowment.
Yeah.
Okay. What else?
Next one is our accreditation status.
Okay, accreditation, we're on step 2 for accreditation. 1, we've been accepted by WINTEC. They're the Indigenous Accreditation Organization, which Hawaii and Aotearoa, and that's why I chose them. So we got accepted. So now I'm working with, I forgot his name. Anyways,
Katie and-
we're, it's Katie and Walter, from WINTEC. And the second step is scheduling a Zoom session to review the draft that we're preparing, which is the, what is it? Anyways, it's a whole, all the questions from Java are curriculum, how we connect it to the community, how we indigenous it. It's really detailed, it's really fun, so.
So if you guys look at the curriculum that we submitted to the council, it's more in depth. She has to go way more in depth for the accreditation.
And I'm happy done already, so I want to, I've already committed to Walter that, I'm gonna send in the draft, on mid-August. And then, because I just wanted to get the school to write a lot of parts. And then, we schedule a Zoom meeting to review it. So he tells me where I need to change or what I need to do on the draft, and then submit it after that. So we're gonna get done things mid-August.
To submit to.
It's like writing a grant.
Yeah.
Like writing a grant. So we try to spend at least an hour every night, to just keep adding, revising. So it's all that, this is the second part, the detailed question, and then the third part is, when we submit this, and this is when we have to pay 1,500, we would pay 500 just for the exceptions. The application fees, and then if it's 1,500, it's budgeted, it's in our budget already. Don't worry.
How long is the accreditation for if you pass?
So for this one, it's a 3-year.
And what does the accreditation do for the school? What does, is it, it's more,
So accreditation is one is a requirement for charter, for any charter school, we have to get. Or whatever institution matches us, like business, if it's, there's different accreditation organization. So we're going to point at, because they're the only indigenous accreditation committee or organization. And then secondly, when we're accredited, it's broad because what we come into is that we talk to the teachers and we talk to the parents. And they literally will come to Guam, and there's going to be a program asking, how's it going? How are you liking it? Is there something that's incomplete? What about teacher training? It touches all of those areas, and it just helps us, it's like an audit, right? An audit helps us to be in order for whatever we do. So whatever we do is hard to keep. Well, accreditation is just education.
I think it's credibility to the school, right?
Yes.
Saying, hey,
Yes, that builds, it'll build, when you see that schools affected, that means they go on the points to make sure that everything we need to interview the project with teachers, watch, come and observe the teachers, speak to the parents, speak to the board, it's all going to be part of that. And that will happen, and so it's a 3-year process.
awesome. 3-year process and 3-year accreditation.
3-year and then 3-year accreditation period. It's good for 3 years, we have to.
I don't remember how many years.
I think we have to get their accreditation in like 3 months. I'm talking that, is there a different, is it because
Yeah,
they're
it's a different
accreditation?
So they went with the same accreditation that we're had on the last, and so theirs is not indigenous, it's a different organization, so.
Yeah.
Different board.
Yeah.
So to clarify, the application for accreditation was accepted.
Yes.
Okay.
And that cost us 500 to apply, and we were accepted, because they don't accept everybody just depends on their ability, because the board members have to travel to conform in that style of time.
And that covers our compliance, because I think we just have to apply to be accepted in the first year. So we're covered.
Income tax.
I guess upon receipt of full accreditation, then we can use that to tout the program.
Okay.
Here's what we.
They're gonna give us a badge and we can.
Put it at the bottom of the list.
It makes them name up for
It's not just those rules.
Get in there, girl, and line up.
And then when you sign the check, it's the one who's name.
We did the banner. It's a lot of that. But we get there, it's just like, when we first started this, I look at the teachings, you say like, oh man, all of them kind of. But-
You did it. You did it.
Be careful what you ask for.
Right?
I just wanted to teach you.
You just wanted to teach them how to read and dance.
Our last, or second to the last item, board retreat. We do need to schedule some board retreat to update our strategic plan and our overall plan for the next 5 years. Let's get this school started, the school year started first, and then hopefully within this year we can find some time to put our strategic plan for the next 10 years. School year, let's get school year started. 25-26 school year started first. Okay. Moving on to any other unusual or milestone announcements.
you wanted to bring up something, if that's okay.
Anything
Maybe be a working committee of the board, but I think we should come up with some board policies so that we understand where we start and where we end, right? So where we don't get involved in operations, and when does the board come in to say, you gotta vote on something? Because I want to make sure we're not crossing over operations and oversight. Okay, so I don't think we need the board to approve it by pencil, but what's the rules on our board as a whole, right? And I think we gotta come up with something like that, so help keep us guidance and where our responsibility ends and where our oversight. So that's one. The second one is what I'm just thinking when we're talking is I really would hate to get back because we reached 200 students at 499, that's 498,000. Our school is very, very unique. It's not like other schools where we can go down the road and grab somebody to teach. Immersion is a whole different thing. When you teach tomorrow, it's a different way of teaching. And so we're very unique compared to other schools. And I think it's something we should talk with the senator and see if they can create a law that any overage that we didn't get from that school year can be given as a surplus or something to go out for development for training. So that we continue, because even if we want to get to 200 kids, we don't have enough people to teach 200 kids. And so they're gonna always keep the 200, but you can't really get there, and then you get a $19,000 audit that you gotta pay, and all these other stuff, right? There's nothing in what we talked about here that mentioned more of regular maintenance, right? You still gotta clean air cons, you still gotta do your plumbing, you still gotta see your classrooms, the light bulb's gonna go out. So we really want to plan for that. And so the development portion, we got to send it to the senators saying, okay, let's make sure any surplus or whatever we got afterwards can be classified as something else. Because the government rates here is for you. It's not going to be used for something else. And because it's unique, and if you look at the newspaper, everybody's talking about tomorrow language is dying and all this stuff. We actually have it. So we might want to explore that a little bit, especially before this is a few years, some senators can sponsor the bill, and I don't think anybody is going to want to go against that. And so that money can come back to Hurao and we can create, we just might have to show them, this is what the money is going to be used for, development and whatever, so that we can continue to maintain staff and encourage people. I'm just thinking that right now, because that's a lot of study.
You may not get the pushback per se, but you may get like from senators, but there may be that devil's advocate perception where other charter schools may come in and say, well, you know, us too, we want a smaller class size and we want to develop our teachers. So it may be an across the board approach, like charter schools choose if they go to full enrollment to get those funds, or if they allot a certain amount to development, like you said. And maybe they come up with a percentage that's allowable per year that can be allotted to development, and then that way it helps where that funds doesn't just, you know, go to the trash per se, and that, you know, but like Hurao would take advantage, maybe not every charter school would, they want to get full capacity for their students, you know. But there'd be a percentage per se. That might be a better approach with the senators because there's always going to be that devil's advocate, especially on Guam. There's always, what about me? What about me? They get that, what about me? And as much as we all agree here that this is 100% specialized, it's still going to have that, like, that attitude in the public, right?
I totally agree, but there's always going to be haters.
Yeah.
And for me personally, I'm gonna ask for the world, and I'll only get an IELTS.
Yeah.
But I'm still I think we should ask for the world.
Yeah.
That way, we only get the IELTS, and then we ask for the IELTS, they give us a village, we ask for a village, we get a street. So let's ask for it all, and then let them come up with something.
With the criteria.
Yeah, and then we gotta create it where they're the hero, not us.
See, or talk to Block, see Freak, to go all the way, go to speaker. Oh, it's not Shelley Kelly, yeah.
That chick was
She's Women's Affairs and see some more, yeah, she's Women's Affairs also, and then I think she's like all the things we would want her to. Yes.
And I just think that we have enough support. And if somebody should do what we do, legislatures, we could, I think we have enough.
Yes.
It's definitely worth
Everything
it.
that the school is doing, right, where you look at it in the Facebook page, you look at the stuff that's going on, it's not like it's just this, we're not showing immersion. We're not just going to school and take a math test or anything, right? It's a really unique situation, and you hold that really, you start using.
It's hard,
That's how
it's hard. It's a lot of work, it's real work.
it costs money to work hard.
Yeah.
It pays to them.
To get them to be, to become fluent, teachers, staff, we have to work really hard. It's another layer of just teaching math and science. It's another layer to get into that fluency level, and even to get the parents on board, you know, for them to buy into the cultural organization, right? When it's doing right, and I'm just thinking, well, oh yeah, you know, it's not just anything, because it's not.
Yeah. So to add to this concern, because I get it, when the charter school is still about, they're going to want to be in and get on board there. But this whoever has a unique mission and we're trying to say, otherwise in the future. So the other charter schools, I guess the notion behind charter schools is to offer different educational curriculum specialized aside from GDO or other private schools. But they all also feel English. So they're set in that, in the language choice for that program. We have an additional challenge of speaking English more than first. And then there aren't as many programs to generate teachers to do. We have the GCC in the FAPE, there's one in the GCC. And then whoever decides to use us there, the the production of tomorrow media educators is not the same as English educators.
Okay, that's your percent.
So we might have an angle there.
You know, you just hit something, right? I know somebody who started intergenerational daycare, here in close by. And then from her going through fighting for the bills to get that in motion, to make that an existent business on Guam, she came up with the idea of teaching in addition to having daycare. So now she has this thing called GECA, Guam Education, something Community Center. And so now she's teaching parent classes and daycare classes, so parents can attend, and daycare staff and daycare owners, different array of classes. If this percentage could fund development, and CH came up with the development classes that your staff goes to, and you know,
We
So
have
circle there.
program that was funded before, it was very good to do this, to raise up within the housing. We didn't have enough space to go and put those teachers in, and we already certified them in housing, for this training. But that money, that the surplus of the money, definitely go to that, because now, even if we have what Anya wrote up on her, we have that book, that's why the budget, on the organization report, you saw tomorrow meeting educator, tomorrow meeting trainer, tomorrow meeting first assistant.
It's gonna happen. What we're doing, we're just feeding the center. So we're gonna look at, you got $500,000 surplus, and they're all gonna line up to be allocated to their pet projects. What we're asking is not, it's just, we're not saying, oh, much more, we're getting more people in. We're not asking more than you allow us. We're not asking because we just gotta change how they're doing, because they're gonna take that and put it into whatever pet projects they have going on.
And to this point, I was thinking the same thing when you were saying, I very much, everyone's gonna say, okay, I'm gonna go try and get more money too, but
be first.
our Maga'låhen's mission is not just unique education or bilingual or whatever, it's literally integral to the survival of our people. So it's in the senator's best interest, you know, it's in the interest of everybody, the impact goes beyond here. So I think that we have a lot of if we want to bring up studies, if we want to bring, there's all of that research that shows why us in particular need that specialized, if, you know,
I think
Enrollment numbers alone.
Yeah.
Being able to get to teach teachers quick enough to supply the enrollment and the waiting list, that statistic alone speaks volumes, you know? Just the number of staff to enroll to waiting list, you know?
I think the only thing now is the, do we,
they would just go out to each senator we know and talk to them about it.
what is the,
bylaws
yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know if we can, we can go over like, carrots.
I think we need to just read the.
I mean, I don't know, like the women's chamber, we write testimony and we have a committee within the board that would, you know, approve the testimony. The board then signs off on it and then you can read it. So we could follow like a similar procedure where if somebody wrote up a testimony, the board reviewed it, approved it, the chairman signs it, and then it moves to legislative. Yeah, and then the community comes the day of to support that, or even write more testimonies in support of it, you know? But there's one from the board.
That's why I'm big, because I just said we need to make a committee for board policy, totally, because I just the same thing. It almost mirror how the chamber works, because the chamber has its own management team, has a board, right?
We
So
have
you see that.
an executive director that's paid, but if you think about it, it's more of like an administrator to the board. The board really makes and decides all policies, and even like bylaws, et cetera, we could change, manipulate as needed as long as we all vote on it. So if we bring it to motion and we want to review and edit, as long as the majority of the board, you know, agrees, then we can make any changes necessary along the way. So, you know, it's just getting half the board in one place to vote it. That's the headache. So that's why you don't like to do it often.
Thank you all for showing up.
Okay.
Appreciate it. But that would be an attempt, I think we should let them vote.
But SOPs and policies, it doesn't hurt. Especially if we're gonna look at hiring, expanding, like, you know, like, Steve Charlie mentioned earlier with background checks and stuff. Maybe the way we've been so far, it's mostly familiar. We don't have to, some of it can be informal, some of it can just be bullet points. But maybe as we grow, some of them really need to be in actual written, you
Yeah,
know.
so we're working on that with that,
Yes.
is
So
like really building out our HR and onboarding process and.
Yeah.
So the HR firm that we're using to help build all of that is actually.
And a form of respect too for this circle too is establishing those policies so we don't ever, no one ever crosses anybody. So from the business, from Maga'låhen, from principal to chairman, everyone knows kind of what their lane is. And then there's no questions and no one feels disrespected, you know, it helps. Yeah.
So I think it's only,
Just gonna.
Only one person's allowed in all lanes, okay?
but that's what I wanted to share. Work policies, SOPs, and work on that, getting that remaining allocation back to us and stay with us.
That is a big one.
So how does like a development,
That's the route program, it was a immersion teacher
it's perfect.
training. I don't know if you remember when we were at PC, they were all part of the training program.
Can even do adult classes.
Multiple feedback for adult classes.
Actually, no, a lot of them aren't good classes, I was in, someone was in my class, and then he was interested in going to staff, and we have it in house, and it's just a nice course, almost like, course, right? To just get you into the classroom, so we were really interested to be an immersion, you know, do you want to teach?
That's what I'm saying.
For me, I believe that this needs just speakers and then I teach classes. The teacher will, this is what really taught was, I told you, she's a culinary. But coming in, this is for that, this is a task to teach, but I have to teach it on the ground with their sit down and say, this is how we do it, sometimes this is, and then she's willing to speak. That's even better for me. Because it's all, and I'm not saying, I'm not doubting that, it's not that it's not important, but for this mission, in order for us to make the teachers faster, that's why I created that in-house program for that certification. So the certificate program there, that's only 4, right? It's very good. I have 9, so it's material development, lesson planning, classroom management, total authenticating, all of that. And so, yeah, we could fund.
40 is the.
She didn't know, so we were not. There's no inventory, there's no, we make our own teachers. And the certification always have, 190. We kept that, and I would just do it in-house, and just after it's up. That's what I was. Most of the parents, most of the faculty came from parents. Parents come in and then even some of them go as far as all the way to there's another parent here in summer, we got blue, Suarez, yeah. They were trying to send I'm not, maybe she's already very full. And she has this really good confidence spirit, so she tried it out, but she says that she has to take care of her elders, so she. Yeah.
She started store up this thing.
Remember the stuff that Hulio started?
That was hers.
Oh, I wonder why she looks so familiar. I followed them on Instagram before.
The sale was.
Just say,
Oh, really?
That was her case.
Yeah.
I remember that.
And so we just, gave her a chance, but she's not gonna be able to work this thing.
But it maybe showed parents, hey, you can do this. It spoke volumes to people who saw. Maybe it ignited some
Number
of
one is,
So we can, adjourn before we eat it too.
Expensive.
I know.
Okay. Para imamalan natin ito Mangge'hilo, Maga'låhen Hurao, Mangge'hilo, Maga'låhen Hurao. The Methodist, Society Methodist, the Adventist, it's a Gusto, it's 20, Society.
Maga'låhen Hurao para unforeseen Ababa Escuela, in case there's any motions for the school year.
Kung gansinya,
Just suggestions, Mrs. Sita.
Trustee, the one we had before.
How many ideas is it?
Methodist.
How many, or how many is that?
13.
Oh, you're here.
I'm not gonna consume.
Oh, I think we're on 6.
Oh, sorry, obviously. Sorry.
And then maybe just send the updated budget
Yeah.
via email and maybe get it approved so everything can keep moving forward.
Yeah, because we're gonna, well, I'll send that forward to discuss, do the revised, the reallocation for the rest of the fiscal year, and that's the one that we'll prioritize first.
You got it. So the 13th is one. Persigus Masita, Postiki alas 6.
Wow.
Good.
Under 2 hours?